Hi guys, Martin from Belief. In this video, we're going to look at some of the changes we've made to some of the step forms. Now, we've had step forms since 2012. We stopped using them landing pages maybe in 2015 or so because they objectively decrease the quality of candidate making their way through the funnel. They do what a step form does do. It's kind of like a commitment ceremony, and it provides us with a little bit of information if different brokers handle different type of clients and so on, and that's the purpose of what we've done. So if you're dealing with auto deals and business deals and commercial and so on, and you don't deal with that internally, you can just flick that off automatically to somebody else. So the step forms, we've put them on the finance archive page or the finance library page, which is here, and you're looking at some of the forms, some of the step forms. There's about 28 here. So to access this page, rather than selecting one of these options via the select menu, we're just selecting home loans and finance. It brings us to this page, and this is the only page where we've listed them all. In fact, even on I've got the resources page here somewhere. What I do is I'll just open the resources page up in another tab. So the resources page has, I think, 8. Let's have a look. So there they are there. So there's 8, and that's called a profile, which is a group of different types of forms that you can use. So it's a really good way of garnishing some activity on your website. Kind of gamifies the experience. Now, the difference with our forms and all these other ridiculous forms, I can't stand seeing stuff that's delivered via Go High Level, for example. Everyone uses the same forms, the same questions, the same flow, the same everything. And most of it is copied off the forms we were using 10 years ago. It's a little bit irritating. What people don't do is the two single most important things. And I will come back in a second and talk about Yabba integration. So, okay, first of all, at the moment, there's about 7 or 8 brokers testing these. And they've been testing them for about 3 weeks or so in different ways on landing pages and internally on their website to see how they can improve upon conversions, where they're best used, how they're best used. So we've been measuring the heat maps to see how much time people spend on these, who actually clicks on a form and doesn't finish and so on, who clicks on one of these step forms, views the results, and maybe visits a calculator or something else. So we've been tracking everything to try and establish how we can best optimize the experience. Now, these are integrated with your website. All right, we've seen people put, I've got, look, if you went to our Facebook group, our public Facebook group, which is Finance Marketing, so facebook.com/group/finance marketing, I've probably got 300 to 400 examples of forms that don't work. Right, they're not integrated, right? They're slapped together via third-party systems, normally integrated with JavaScript or something silly. There are some third-party tools that put thousands, in some cases, lines of code on your website. And this whole thing is generated with about 25 kilobytes. So it's about 3 to 5% the size of some of these other solutions, and it's fully integrated with your website. So it loads on your page. It's not in an iframe or anything like that. And it really does improve upon the experience, and it's bulletproof, so it always works. The form will always show without exception. It will always submit. Business finance is really popular at the moment. I did 3 webinars with groups of business guys. There was a joker on LinkedIn that was boasting about his business results, which were, average. Commendable, I guess, for somebody that's doing them himself, but they were average results. Now we've got about 20 guys now, maybe 18, 19 guys that are actually running ads in the business space. And on the basis of just the subscription and the funnel that we've given them in a plugin, they're all getting, $15, $16 non-secured or unsecured, non-compliant business finance deals. It's a high profit margin space. It's not regulated the same way it is with the mortgage space and so on. We do that in a number of different ways. But they're getting really good results, and all those guys came on board on the basis of, hey, we're going to test stuff on your site as well. But that's just this one form. They don't have access to anything else. They're all using SMS verification as well, and the conditional redirects and so That's beside the point. So let's just have a look at one or two of these forms. Now, purchase. We should be starting here with first home buyer. Now, we've got a standalone. I'm not sure if I mentioned this. I'm recording this for the second time, by the way, because I went into a coughing fit. So I don't know what I've said and what I haven't said. But there are forms for first home buyers, first investments, which aren't listed here. New brokers, so new to industry brokers, people that want to become a broker, new partners, all sorts of stuff. But you don't list them all. In fact, even on this page, that's probably excessive. I can see 7 or 8 here that I would remove immediately. Aircraft finance, for example, I'll show you that. Actually, I won't show you that, but there's a ton of questions there. None of you will, unless you've got an aviation background, would understand what half of it means. But the point to a lot of this, like the accountant stuff and the property support, they're expected to be aligned with a partner. So everything for accountants will be sent to Yabra, and then Yabra will send it off to your partner, and it will be listed in your partner dashboard and so on. Same applies for property support. If you've got a buyer's agent or a real estate agent that takes on the majority of your work, you can send stuff to them, and that works on a round-robin basis if you want it to. So if you've got 10 partners, you can filter stuff on the basis of the questions that they've answered. If they're interested in SMSF, or if they're interested in bookkeeping, or if they're interested in so on, and then round-robin on that. Now, that's a bit outside the scope of what I wanted to talk about. Even financial planning, by the way, that's expected for partners as well. So you wouldn't have those 3, for example, listed unless you had a partner in place, or you had the capacity to operate those services within your own operation, and the appropriate compliance and disclaimers were included within your setup. So we've talked a little bit about how these differ from everything else. They're integrated into your website on landing pages. They're completely turnkey. Landing pages now are a 1-second setup. And these were designed, by the way, not necessarily just for landing pages. It's how most people are using them, but they will be included as required on every page in your website. And if I didn't say so already, if we were going to our investment page from the primary menu here, this panel would be open on that page, and we'd have something above, indicating, hey, flick through this form and return immediate results. And that's one of the big differences here. One of the 3 or 4 differences I want to talk about for those that haven't seen them or used them, and that is we do query the comparison engine and return a whole bunch of results. More applicable for kind of those 4 here, 1, 2, 3, those 5, purchase, refinance, investment, debt, console. Self-employed, there's also business finance. Car loans, I need to talk about this just because I don't want people to be confused, but these widgets are just basic lead form widgets. Okay, they're not our car loan application widgets, which are used by about 2,500 dealerships and aviation classified, or people that are selling aircraft, people that are selling maritime vehicles, and Sydney Motorcycles, I think their name is, are using one for motorcycles. If that's listed here, I'm not sure if it is. Here it is here, because we go through a large number of questions on this motorcycle one that a lot of people, like engine capacity, they'll have to be changed to showing a dollar figure there. There's a lot of information that's asked of these, and you kind of think, why? And that's because there are people that require certain types of functionality. But I'll go into that another time. Let's just look at purchase. Again, we should be starting on, are you a first home buyer? That's one of the things the guys have given me in feedback, and I'll implement that. Now, we use sliders whenever available. Okay, we don't want people entering a figure. Any keystroke, anything that you ask of a user will objectively decrease conversion. So we've kept it really simple. In our old system, by the way, it was the same. So these forms have always had a slider. Since 2012, they've had a slider. Actually, not since 2012. I think it was about 14 or 15 where we replaced the buttons with a slider, because we used to ask for approximate interest rate and deposit and stuff like that. And now we're trying to be a little bit more specific with this and rate, because we return actual results. So we want to be able to calculate an actual LVR. We want to be able to resolve certain policy requirements. And that's another thing. If this form is shown on the police front page or the medical front page and so on, that's listed in the form, so the results would be shown on the basis of policy. So that's not generated via our AI engine, that's just programmatic inclusion, so purchase budget and so on. Are you a first-time buyer? So that should be first. Household income, it's really not necessary, but in some cases we're able to exclude certain products from the comparison engine on the basis of that. Now, select menus for state and so on, we did have them listed in buttons. We expect to make them an option, so you can have buttons or select menus. Select menus will decrease conversions. It's only marginal, but it does decrease conversions. You wouldn't think so. It's kind of amazing to have a look at this data and realize that these subtle changes in these forms can really have an impact on the number of people that actually follow through on contact. So this is kind of what I wanted to talk about to those guys that are testing, and that is the calendar integration. For all those that aren't testing, this is required. Okay, it is just bread and butter stuff. You don't have a landing page, and then after someone submits details, send them off to a calendar form. What you can do with this calendar is, in the same way we hide the calendar on the front page, for example, you can have that, and that's an option, by the way, in the Elementor block. And the shortcode is, hide form, or hide calendar, sorry, on first page. Because we're going to send them to, I will talk a little bit about the landing page functionality, but we will send them to a second page, and that second page will include an open calendar. But that's not the purpose of the second page, right? It's not the calendar, it's escalation. The calendar is just part of that. So for those guys that are using this, I'm just going to show you one thing. And this is something that guys brought up in discussion. I've sent the details out in the PDF. Now I'm going to have to refresh this page just to reload the difference in code. There we go. Okay, let's run through this purchase flow again. And I'll just answer any old question. Select state. We don't force details, by the way. If people don't include a state or something, we don't care, right? We resolve that anyhow, but via their IP. So it's no big deal, but it does confirm what we kind of know about them. So the difference is, in the shortcode and in the Elementor plugin, there's an option to return the calendar format. This has worked better, right? So when you come to this last page, having the, which is not default, and I will make it default for the next update for our testers, this has doubled the number of conversions, just having an open calendar. And it's just you go through the standard process, date and time, and then show my results. Now, this is where it gets a bit funny. For our testers, and I'm going to go through a bunch of things today with a couple of our testers to establish different methods on the landing page flow in particular, because at this point, we're making a booking before we've seen the results. If I click show results here, it's going to bring up I think 12 or 14 products, and they're listed in panels side by side. So it's not part of the comparison engine. It does return abbreviated results and savings and links to a bunch of graphs and things like that. So every single form returns immediate results, and that's what you need. So if somebody has not decided at the point that they submit this form, hasn't decided they want to contact you, there's no, we don't force the calendar, but as soon as someone clicks one of these buttons, they kind of have to. There's no option there, and that's one of the things we might have to change. Despite the fact that it's improved upon the calendar conversions, it limits, I think, the effectiveness of that page 2 flow, because, and I'll show you, I'll just go back to here, I'll run through a refinance flow, putting any old thing in, and there we go, and state, and it brings up this again, where we've got no need to contact just yet. That's a really good option to have, because not everybody has decided at this point in the form flow that they're ready to contact you, or, it gives you a convenience as well, which you don't, you do have in the the other calendar, but it's not as obvious. So what we can do here, guys, for those testing is if you're using this format, and despite the fact that it's probably not as effective, I do like it better because you're showing the results and you're giving your consumer a choice of whether to contact you, because we're going to show the results for 8 seconds. We're going to show a progress bar. I'm not going to show that right now because we're doing testing and it brings up a whole bunch of data and all sorts of stuff that we're playing with. So it shows the results for about 8 seconds and then redirects to a comparison engine and all the graphs are shown. So it's about 12 different graphs on the basis of the information they provided, or 10 graphs maybe. It also, for investor, first home and refinance, will also send the fact find PDF report. Which kind of brings me, I guess, to the fact that that fact find report will be changed over, will be swapped over with what you're seeing now. The fact find report has been in service forever, and it is time just to turn it over and give it a new lease on life. So the second page, guys, if somebody goes to the second page and they have not made a booking, remember conditional redirects apply. So we redirect someone to a page on the basis of have they been a subscriber, so a user in this case, just somebody that's reviewing data, have they provided a phone number, or have they made a calendar booking. If they are a basic subscriber, the calendar will be open on that basic page. So it's not unlike Calendly, I guess, except that they won't have to put in a name, email, phone number, all that sort of stuff all over again. And we've got the information on that page that gives them the reason to make contact. Hey, you can save $2,000, $5,000 a year or whatever. This is the reason why. If you continue making the same repayments on the basis, it reduces this term. These are potential property investing opportunities. There's a large amount of information that's returned. And a lot of that is tailored by you. So I kind of just wanted to introduce this as a means for, again, for those of you guys that aren't using, and by the way, these forms are on your website. You can use them now, right? But we just haven't sent you the details for you to test them. So they are there. They have been for 5 years. We have updated them with Formly. And the way you tell Formly from other forms is when you've got this little icon to the left-hand side of each text field. So if it doesn't have that, it's not a Formly field. So that's really the primary identifier. So that's that. And the other thing, guys, is with our testing guys. This is a testing page. I'm pulling up Elementor because I'm just using shortcode. The way we got single results. Okay, that's showing one more than it should, but you can see here in Elementor, and I've sent you details in the PDF, it's formally step title equals no, so we're not showing a title, and profile equals general. And general will just return that, what we showed before, excuse me, just that string there, which is the primary, I guess, borrowing types, but you can define your own profile. So different step forms are shown on different pages, and a single row I think looks quite nice on those pages. It's not intrusive. It's not. We're not doing, like, it's not a plugin, right? It's not retrieved from a third-party source, so it inherits the style and so on of your website. Automatically, colors and all those sorts of things can be defined, so we're not having to put big pictures in here or anything or any of that sort of stuff. So and it just seamlessly works. So they're really good. So on landing pages, yeah, we're using these now more often than we were previously. And we'll go into this when we record some more videos on landing pages, because we have a ton of guys now. I've been a little bit lazy the last week and a half or so, 2 weeks maybe, with our Facebook guys. But we've got a ton, I'd say 20 guys maybe, that need to get ads up probably in a couple of weeks. So we're going to improve upon the turnkey functionality that's integrated with your website, so you're able to launch those campaigns straight away. And you do get good results. And the reason you're getting good results is because you're doing what nobody else in the industry does, because you're actually returning real results to people in real time. You're linking to calculators that remember it's integrated with your website, so you're linking to calculators that remember the values that the individual provided. So when you load up a calculator, it's going to show those same values so they can play with that next 3 payments and so on. It links through to the comparison engine, so they're able to review that their information is recorded on the website. Their information is recorded with those details that they passed, and will always lean on the last details that were provided by them in order to sort of shape their website experience and support that escalation of commitment. Now, we ran $1 million challenge for those really crappy Facebook programs throughout this whole year, and we've only finished with the last 2 a couple of weeks ago. And the date today is just, it's the end of September 29, Monday 29 September. And a lot of that had to do with the conditional functionality and showing results, and more importantly, the conditional redirect. That's where we saw the majority of on-page conversions, and then we saw a stack more, like compared to the competing solutions, which typically return 0% conversions after the subscription. Ours are returning large numbers, more than the subscription itself off the actual form, which is about 3 to 5 times higher. So the results are really good, but it all comes from showing real-time results and providing, most importantly, that conditional redirect with the integrated calendar. This integrated calendar, guys, if you're not using that, you're missing out. It's just your marketing is ineffectual. If you send someone off site, particularly if you send them to Calendly or any other service, you're absolutely destroying your funnel. That puts a bullet in it. It terminates it. It doesn't. The funnel is about what comes next, and again, leaning on that escalation of commitment. So really, guys, if you're not using this stuff, give me a call. Our website is cheap as chips. And we intentionally price it cheap to make it accessible. I've seen guys charge hundreds of dollars a month for forms that look like this. That's crazy. Now, if I didn't say so before, I'm just going to say so again. The car loan, again, because I had to record this a second time after my little coughing fit. The car loan stuff, the business finance, all this sort of stuff also has separate forms, which are application forms. So these are just lead forms. All right, lead forms and application forms are very, very different, like very, very different. Lead forms are just lead capture, right? Application stuff goes through all the file upload and everything else. The car loans, even the purchase refinance, that standard resi owner-occupied stuff, every other form here integrates with the standard upload functionality. We've got the OCR software on taking pictures of your license, or all that sort of stuff, which is bread and butter these days. A lot of brokers are surprised by it. And then it's supported by our AI system, which is the most sophisticated AI system in the industry. So there's a lot going on with these forms and everything else, and they will be all drip fed into your system very, very quickly. We want these forms on your site within the week. And that's all dependent on the testers getting back to us, correcting the flows, adding questions, removing questions, and altering the format. So if we stick a button up and a slider is more appropriate, we're changing that at the same time, assuming that our data supports the actual change. So that's that, guys. One point on the car loan, if I didn't mention, in 2013, just to give you a backstory, we made a plugin for the WordPress repository. It was open source. It's no longer there because in 2015 we moved it to Advanto. This is, I'm trying to think of the name of the dealership in Western Sydney. They were building their website at the time and needed an interim finance product and a car loan listing product. And we enhanced the product we had so they could use it. It's Peter Warren. And we enhanced the product we had. We moved it to Avanto, so they paid $30 for it off the Avanto marketplace and used that for a period of time. And since then, about maybe 2,500 people are using it. We get $0 off that now because it's turned into a free product that was removed off Avanto, and it's now available on our website just as a download, and lists cars. Now, for those that are using the property module, there is a ton of property forms as well. So I just want to give you a heads up. This is what's happening. This is where we're headed. This is what's going on. The lead flow stuff is managed from within website forms module in Yabba. So all the standard automation applies as it applies in a standard form. For example, if somebody submits that form, they get submitted to email lists, marketing lists, there's emails that send, there's autoresponders that apply, all sorts of stuff. You just select an established profile there. So once you've done it once, it only takes a couple of minutes to sort it out. SMS verification, all that sort of bizzo applies, and it's predicated on what's defined in a form. The step forms themselves are up here. I don't think it's going to show anything on this particular, no. So if you're one of our testers, you're going to see about 6 options here, 5 options here, where you get to go through and define the text that's shown. For example, this text that's shown here, where it says how much you have for a deposit, you change that text, and you change these background colors, the slider colors, the handle, and all those sorts of things. Here we go. Thought that was going to be another coughing fit. My whole family is home sick in the school holidays, which is awesome. So that's that, guys. So all our testers, please, today and tomorrow, this is Monday, Tuesday, get back to me with everything you've got. Run through the results returned from the comparison engine, make sure they're suitable and acceptable, make sure the text is compliant as per your aggregator. We've made it generic compliant, which is, all inclusive. But we just want to make sure everything's kosher before it's pushed out to everybody. For everyone else, our website is better than competing solutions. It just is. It's integrated. It's got all sorts of funky features and all sorts of stuff. And it's fully Microsoft 365 integrated. So it just makes a big difference. So everyone else, give me a call, 0400 777 300. If you don't have a website, get it. It's just the bee's knees. It'll change your business if you have traffic on your website. If you don't have any traffic, it's not going to make a difference. A website that has no traffic will get no leads, so it doesn't matter how good your website is. 0400 777 300, call or text at any time. Our website, beliefmedia.com.au. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.